Coffee. He does coffee, but it's not record.
All right, welcome back to the Late Podcast. As always, we have myself, Hunter, Jared, and today we have my dad, David.
Hey, how we doing, guys? No Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's not here.
He sucks. Flat out, Jordan sucks. He's been fired. I replaced him.
We'll take that.
We need a replacement for Matt. No replacement for
Matt's
Jordan.
irreplaceable. He ruined it for everybody.
We got a lot of co-hosts.
So, why don't you tell everyone about yourself, what you do?
Well, my name is David Hogan. I'm a public insurance adjuster. I travel around from big storms, and I protect people and their assets from insurance companies. I fight the good fight. I have 2 children. I'm my second wife. Born and raised Cleveland, Ohio. Now in the suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio. And big sports fan. About all I got to say.
All right.
At least the people now know the David Hogan.
Yeah. So, how about fantasy?
Okay, look, hold on. We already went through this.
I gotta do it to you every time, because every time I lose to him, he's always like, "Oh, I knew I was gonna kick your ass." So now it's like, yeah.
Okay, well, hold on. Sunday, I was projected like 160. And then my players shit the bed, and Austin Eckler went off. Okay, what do you want?
Well, fantasy kind of has a little touch of reality to it. And what I mean by that is, imagine running a professional franchise, right? Yeah. And your career depends on your decisions. Where your children go to school, the neighborhoods your kids live in, all of that, right? And you draft players coming out of college, and they either get injured or they turn out to be, imagine, you're a great running back, but you're on a team that throws the ball all the time.
Right.
Exactly. You take Derrick Henry, for example. He's in the perfect situation. He's got a head coach and a team philosophy of pound and the run game, and he's a hell of a runner. Then the guy gets injured. So, you think of what it does to the Tennessee Titans and their future for this year, right? And then you think of someone like my son Hunter, who drafted him, right? You think that's your bell cow, the guy that every week you can count on to give you at least 28 points, and next thing you know, you might as well just toss him away for the rest of the year, because he's out. I play in a different league than these guys. I play with some of my relatives as well, my brothers. And I played my brother Michael this week, and Mike has Derrick Henry still on his bench. An old joke around Cleveland from the 80s is there was a linebacker named Chip Banks, and he held out for more money, and today he's still holding out. He never played again. But and he also has Hopkins, the wide receiver Hopkins, on his team. Here I'm playing up against them, and I'm just like, I'm gonna whip his ass. Henry's on the bench, out for the year. Hopkins is week to week. I figured I had him, and I barely got by. But it's the luck of the draw. That's why gambling. You don't bet grocery money.
Yeah.
That's the key.
That's what I did with Hunter this week. Is he had like 3 good players out, and I was like, I got him. Like Cooper Kupp's on the bye week.
Yeah.
Hopkins, I got him. Nope.
Well, I bet most of the year on Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, and started both of them this past week, and a little disappointed. Mm-hmm. I have Jalen Hurst, whatever his guy's name is, from Philly. He's on my bench. That dude went off for over 30 points, and I got Prescott. I think barely broke 10 for me. Yeah. It's like, going to have to make some adjustments next week.
The crazy thing about Hurts was the week prior he only got like 15 points.
Yeah, it's
With Philly, it's who they play.
it's gambling. What you call that, gambling? But
Yeah, I just dropped Baker and the Ravens defense and the Buccaneers defense to pick up because the Texans are projected to have one of the highest defense ratings for this upcoming week.
okay, for this week maybe, but
I was telling
for
you.
the year I'd say no.
Yeah.
I was telling you not to worry about a weekly projection,
I-
especially on a team of the Texans.
Yeah, I have
Well, who are they
both
playing?
Arizona's defense
Not
and
Atlanta. The Jets, I think.
the Chargers defense.
The Chargers defense.
And, Pittsburgh's done a horrible job with their offense most of the year. They've been able to run the ball a little bit, but that's really about it, right?
Yeah.
So I started the Chargers over Arizona. Arizona put up nearly 20 points on defense. And the
Yeah, the other
Chargers,
week,
I think they took 4 points away from me. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was not this
Jets.
past week because the Cardinals D was on bye week, so it must have been last week.
Here, hold on.
Well, then maybe you had the Patriots D because the Cardinals.
No,
were
I
on
had the
bye.
Patriots kicker.
Aren't the Cardinals
I had
on
the
bye
Patriots.
week this week?
Oh, okay.
This
my
coming
bad.
week they're on bye.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were last week.
No, because Colt McCoy, drafted by the Browns in the 3rd round, mind you. Colt came in and won it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh. Well, I know I was looking at a defense on like a Tuesday last week. I was looking at the Patriots D because they were playing the Falcons, and I was like, well, no one has them. And then I forgot later in the week to pick them up, and they played on a Thursday night. And I was so mad that I didn't pick them up because they got 26 points. And I was like, I would have beat Hunter.
Yeah, I started the Chargers defense. They gave me -1.
Yeah.
And Arizona played Seattle, who's got Duke at times are explosive, put up
Right.
8 points.
Yeah.
And on the bench I had Hurst at just about 31 points.
Mm-hmm.
Eckler almost 36 points. And I started Prescott, quarterback for Dallas, not even 5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baker was
Seems
projected like 15, only got like 7.
Well, that's, it happens. It happens. Again, Cleveland's a running team. They're not a passing team. You'd want Cleveland's running backs, Chubb or Hunt. But, they played Detroit, and everyone, Detroit, they haven't won a game. They got lucky and tied one. But they were in every game. They're a few plays a game away from being a very competitive team.
Yeah.
Only a few plays per game, so they're not as bad as their record looks.
Jared
And,
Goff is not that bad of a quarterback.
Right.
I mean,
Well, no, Goff wasn't in. They had a rookie in.
oh, that's
That Boyle.
I don't remember his name, but the guy, he's only had a couple snaps in the NFL. But, a rookie quarterback has an
Boy.
advantage.
Mm-hmm.
There's no tape on him. There's no film.
Yeah.
You got to go back to college, and chances are they were running some crap that they only run in college, and maybe not
Yeah.
just in college, but at that school.
Mhm.
Imagine being a quarterback at Army. All they do is run the damn ball, the wishbone.
Yo.
You might throw 1-2 passes a game. So it happens, but you know what? Good teams find a way to win, and Cleveland found a way to win.
yeah.
I'm lucky I got Chubb on my starting lineup too.
Yeah, that helps. That helps. For years and years, being a Cleveland Browns fan, we were on the wrong end of them games.
Yeah.
Where a team that should have smoked us, right, barely won. And as Browns fans, we're like, damn it, we should have won that game.
Yeah.
We're a couple plays away. That's it. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
It's the NFL, not for long.
Yeah.
Nothing's very long in that league.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick up Justin Herbert, and because it's before Wednesday, it's like claim.
It's on
pending.
waivers. That means you claimed them.
Yeah.
How the hell? What is there? 2 people in your league? How's Justin
4.
Herbert? Well, that's your problem. 4 people.
Yeah, there's only 4 people. That's why I'm like, it's hit or miss every week.
Yeah.
I've got to gamble on.
That's why I'm on.
My
There's,
whole
there's like
lineup.
14 people in my league.
I've got to gamble on my whole lineup.
You know how tough it is to get a tight end when there's 14 other dudes in your league? A tight end. I mean,
I play in the league with 18, and my number 1 overall pick, Dobbins, got injured before the league even
Ohio
before
State,
the season even started. I was like, well, my season's over.
yeah. I mean, like, who's got the 14th worst defense in the league? You know what I mean? Just you're screwed.
Right.
You know, to me the key is you gotta have a damn good kicker, a damn good tight end, and at least one bell cow running back and one bell cow receiver. You know what I mean? You got that, chances are you're in every game. You might not win them all, but you're in every game. Because if you don't have a good kicker, and the guy you're playing, his kicker puts up 14 points, 16 points, your guy put up 2, it's like, fuck.
Yeah, that's why he was like, I'm going to get the Kansas City kicker. I was like, all right, go ahead. Because everyone goes for, like, it goes, like, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, and then for some reason everyone goes for Patrick Mahomes. There's no reason to pick up Patrick Mahomes with the third pick.
Right.
No. To me, the key is running backs.
You're
I go after a running back
running
first.
back
Typically,
first.
I'm not a huge wide receiver guy.
No.
Yeah, that's why I'm on such a rotation weekly of, all right, who am I dropping? Who am I keeping? Who am I picking up?
I do that a lot with my wide receivers. My running backs are set. My tight end is set.
I
And
got
my
some good
kicker is
receivers.
set. But my wide receivers are week in and week out kind of getting changed around.
I got 2 good receivers. I got Keenan Allen for the Chargers and
Yeah.
Diggs in Buffalo.
Stephon Diggs is
Yeah,
very.
but he's got
But he's got Josh
occasionally has a
Allen.
game they don't throw him the ball.
Right.
You know, I mean, my tight end Andrews in Baltimore put up over 7 points for me. He was projected 10, but that's for a tight end. There's a lot of tight ends who don't get a point,
Yeah.
let alone 7.
I've got Mike Andrews. He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Baltimore,
Yeah.
the same guy.
I was gonna say, we were talking about the Lions. So before they started the rookie, Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford is currently with the Rams, and Jared Goff is with the Lions. So at the same time last year, at the end of week 10, they both had the same record last year.
Wow.
For the Rams. Jared Goff was 7-3 and Matthew Stafford was 7-3. So how are you supposed to say that Matthew Stafford is the better quarterback out of the two of them at this point right now?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we're saying week 1 like, well, Matthew Stafford has made such a big difference. I mean, he's been in the league a couple more years, but
Stafford's a hell of a quarterback.
he's a very
He's a
good
hell of a
quarterback.
quarterback.
I knew he was
He's better
even
than
for the
Goff.
Lions.
He's
I-
better than Golf.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in the same way of how is the team better with him if the record's the same at that same point? Now, let alone they do have one of the most
Well,
dominating
that's-
defenses in the
But
league.
that's easy for an armchair quarterback or an armchair coach, to make that prediction. But
Right.
what you don't see is, when the play caller is calling plays, and there's plays he wants to call, but he can't
Yeah,
because that
quarterback can't
quarterback isn't capable physically of doing something,
Yeah.
or that quarterback doesn't do it right.
Right,
That's
right.
frustrating. It's like a general looking at his army, and you have guys, sergeants and lieutenants underneath you, and they're not doing what you tell them to do.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna win?
Oh,
Right?
right,
There's a reason you got stars on your shoulder.
right. What the thing that I say about why I argue that Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than Jared Goff is, in all of the games that he's played, it's either been a really hard fought game and a win that came out by a solid play on like a last drive by the Rams, or it's been an absolute blowout because the Rams were just so dominated with the play calling and the execution of the plays. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew when to throw the ball to. I mean, Cooper Kupp's been the number one wide receiver in the league. I mean, because Matthew Stafford has that knowledge of when do I throw the ball when he's open, even though he's getting double teamed, when he's open, that he won't get injured and he'll have an opportunity to run.
Yeah.
You know, that's how Brady stayed so dominant. You know, he knows that how to work through the defense and not just throw the ball because someone's open.
It's a fact.
So, like, that's what all these new
everyone
quarterbacks
talks
do.
about Brady being the GOAT, greatest of all time. It's not true.
No.
Listen here, folks out there in the population. Greatest quarterback of all time, greatest NFL player of all times, Otto Graham.
Oh, yeah.
Google it. Otto Graham, again, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Otto Graham was a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns for 10 seasons. Every year was in the championship game. No, they didn't call it the Super Bowl back then. They called it the championship game because it's the championship. And every year was in the starting quarterback from his rookie year to his last year was in the championship game and came away with 7 rings. No quarterback can say that every year they ever played, they made it to the championship. And this was in a time when they can rip your goddamn head off. They'll knock your teeth out. And you're playing again on Sunday. So these are real men playing real violent with no rules. And you want to hear something even better? Because I'm sure most of you guys, all 10 of you out there, 12, are also basketball fans. His rookie year, not only did he win the championship as the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, he was the starting point guard for the New York Knicks and won the NBA Finals his rookie year.
Wow.
That's a true two-way player. In my era, in the 80s and 90s, we had Bo Jackson, we had Deion Sanders. Otto Graham was better.
Yeah.
He was the first player ever on a Wheaties box. They used to run commercials, and this is a time when they didn't have the editing and everything we do today. People would put a cigarette in their mouth, and he would throw a football from 10 yards, not hit the person, and knock the damn cigarette out of their mouth. Whoo, that's accuracy.
Yeah.
In a time when everybody ran the ball. They didn't throw the ball back then. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
He was a hell of a thrower of the ball. So I played pee-wee ball for a local rec, and we were the Esterbrook Grahams, named after Otto Graham. Yep. Down, if you ever seen the show, the Drew Carey show,
Yeah.
they show that Warsaw Tavern. That's a block away from Esterbrook, where the rec. I put windows in that building that you see on the front of that show, the Warsaw Tavern.
Wow.
Before Hunter was born.
Every tradesman dad, whenever you go by a building, hey, you see that?
I did
that.
That's right.
And because of him, I can go by a certain apartment down in Akron and be like, hey, you see those windows? I did that.
That's right.
I just do it with grass.
See how short that grass is? I did that.
See those lines?
See that window over there? I did that. That door over there? I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it funny how people call LeBron the greatest basketball player of all time.
He's the greatest of his era.
Yeah, I was
no
gonna
doubt
say
about
that.
it.
Because every era has their own.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Bill Russell. Of course,
But back
Michael.
then, you got to remember there was only a few teams.
Right, there's only like 12 teams or something.
You know what I mean? But they were still fantastic.
Right.
And they weren't as violent, in my opinion, as like the 80s.
Yeah.
The 80s was more of a violent. And then the 90s came in with Jordan, and it became more of a defensive league.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first started watching basketball, it was the late 80s, mid to late 80s. And, every game was like 120 to 125.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, defense took over, and scores were 92 to 88. It just, really came down. And then to try to get the scores back up again, that's why they have so many rules now about hand checking and everything. And
Yeah.
You take a dude like Steph Curry, who's an amazing shooter.
Mm-hmm.
He'd never
Yeah.
make it back in the
He's
day.
one of the greatest shooters.
Because they beat him up.
Yeah.
I mean, now you can't even touch him.
Yeah.
A shooter that good, if you can't touch him, hell yeah, he's going to make a half-court shot.
Yeah.
But if you can throw a forearm into his nose all game, guess what? He ain't going to shoot shit. He going to pass that ball to a big sumbitch down in the paint. That's what's going to happen.
That's why the scores are 160 to 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yep. And that's a fact. But Steph Curry, you got to give him credit. I mean, the dude can shoot the ball. It's funny. I remember his dad, Del Curry, when he played for the Cavs. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't Steph Curry from Ohio?
He was born here. Same hospital as LeBron, like a week later or something like
Wow.
that. Yeah. His dad was dating a girl, or married or dating his mom down in the Akron area. Well, back then, the Cavs didn't play downtown Cleveland. They played in Richfield, halfway between Cleveland and Akron. So they lived out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they practiced, I believe. And I know for sure they played there. It was the Richfield Coliseum. But, he was dating a girl from the Akron area and got her pregnant. And, now you got the Curry boys.
Yeah.
yeah, Seth and Steph.
Seth's got a brother.
Well, Steph, and then it's Seth Curry, but
Is
I
that
think
what it is?
I think it's his older brother.
Okay.
I'm not sure. You'd have to fact
Talented
check.
young man.
It was either their
Talented young-
brothers or their cousins. I'm not sure. But Steph Curry is very talented.
Yeah.
But they always have the one game a year where they play each other.
Yeah.
And it always goes back and forth. One wins one wins
That's
the
funny.
other.
That's
And I'm
funny.
like, wow.
Yeah.
But
That's backyard basketball, I'm sure.
well, no, because they're both in the league. So
Oh, is that what it is?
yeah, Seth
Okay.
Curry, I believe.
I
plays
quit
for
watching.
Trail.
I'm just,
I don't watch.
everyone has the
this.
right to work wherever they want,
Yeah.
but it does hurt cities and markets when you tell a city, like, I don't want to be in your city because it's not flashy enough. It hurts.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, they have every right to do it, don't get me wrong, but it just, there's not enough great players that the handful, can come and go as they please,
Mm-hmm.
and it just destroys communities.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's a little dear to me. Again, what I do for a living, I travel in natural disasters, and I spent years working in Oklahoma City. And it's a market where most people aren't born and raised there. There's a big Air Force base there and an Army base about an hour away.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of military retirees there who just love the community, and there is good work there in the oil business, oil and natural gas. So there's money there, and there's a lot of people that live there who want a team to root for. They finally get lucky enough to get a major sports franchise, and all these superstars come there, and they just don't want to stay.
Well, yeah, they had
That
Russell
hurts.
Wilson.
And again,
Russell
they have
Wilson.
they have every right to be there. They have every right to leave, but it does hurt a community.
They had the three biggest stars in the league at almost one of the
Three of the top
three
10.
of the top 10 biggest stars
Yes,
in the league at the
absolutely.
time on one team. And
On one team.
They all left.
Yep, they all left.
And now they're
And
all
again-
running the Los Angeles.
No, only Russell Wilson's in Los Angeles.
Right, two of them.
Kevin Durant's
Kevin
in New
Durant.
York,
So
and
is,
so is James Harden.
Harden. Yeah, they're on the same team.
But they
Brooklyn
never
Nets,
play at
which
the
I
same
believe
time.
plays in Jersey, which is bullshit.
Yeah,
Why?
it does play in Jersey.
I mean, that's like treating Jersey like
and they're called the
a
Brooklyn
second-class
Nets.
citizen. I was going to use a different word there, but there could be little ones listening. But that's just wrong. I mean, why would the people in Jersey pay their taxes to build them a facility? I don't know. Again, I haven't paid attention for a few years, so they might. I know they're called Brooklyn now. Do they play in Brooklyn? I don't know. But I think it's just wrong. Any of those teams over the years that have screwed Jersey out of not giving them the recognition, of saying New Jersey and
New Jersey.
but saying New York, so they can seem like, that they're the mighty, powerful, largest state in the union,
Yeah.
or largest city in the country, financial capital of the world. It's just wrong.
Just look up
But
location.
you know, I'm an underdog.
Jersey.
That's why I fight for the little guy.
So, the other thing is Metlife Stadium, where the New York Giants and New York Jets play at, is in New Jersey.
In Jersey. Well, you know, the good news is Jersey gets a tax base, but you know, for a little guy, the blue collar guy out there, you know what I mean, who, you know, wants a little pride once in a while, you know, and he's in Jersey and it's his tax dollars that built them that beautiful facility, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
If I was president, boys and girls, I would make it where, one, no community's allowed to pay for a stadium for these billionaires and multimillionaires. Two, if you're playing in that state or that city, that's all you can name yourself. That's all you can name yourself.
Oh, get ready for the taxes that are coming to remodel Progressive Field.
You know,
Because, the Guardians can't work in the same stadium that the Indians were in. Heaven forbid.
No, they're
well,
just
it's gonna,
remodeling.
they're going to have to do a little remodeling.
But I heard the owner of the Indians is also the owner of the Cavs. I could be wrong. Like,
No,
he built both the
no,
buildings or something.
Jacobs. Shit, it's been a long time.
I thought he bought
Dolan.
both of them.
Dolan owns the Indians. They're actually they have a big cable company in the state of New York, and a guy out of Detroit owns the Cavs. He owns Quicken Loans. That's why it's Quicken Loans Arena or whatever the hell they call themselves this week. Rocket Mortgage. That's it. They do a lot of business, man. I mean, apparently he's worth billions. They do a hell of a lot of business.
Apparently we can.
Yeah, but you know, both
Bring
of
anyone
them,
to the
even though they're
Cavs,
not
though.
local people, both of them have treated the city well.
Yeah.
But one thing that's bullshit is the St. Louis, one of the greatest sports cities in this country. They had two different football teams in my lifetime that left, and the last one was the Rams, and the Rams couldn't get a stadium in which originated from Cleveland, by the way. It was the Cleveland Rams back in the 40s, left to go to LA and couldn't get the stadium they wanted because, plain and simple, LA doesn't need a team. They moved and built a brand new stadium in St. Louis, and the fans adored them as they adore every team that plays there. You know, sold out that stadium. You know, they had plenty of money, but they had written in the lease for this brand new facility, $1 billion facility, that if they don't get a brand new from scratch stadium in 20 years, that they can leave. And those assholes left. They did it on purpose because they want to be in LA. Everybody wants to be in LA unless you're a poor person or a Republican. And they got a 20-year-old facility sitting there empty.
Mm-hmm.
No tax revenue, nothing. And Jacobs Field's older than that stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I call it Jacobs Field. Sorry, guys, I'm old school.
My mom
Changed
still calls
too
it the
easy.
J.
But you know, Progressive Field, it probably could use some updating and new signs and things, and it's pretty minimal considering, you know, 82 games are played there.
Right.
You know, on a salary that's what, between the two teams every week. You know, figure you take 120, let's say $100 million divided by how many games they play? 162.
I believe.
So it's 81 home games. You know, you're talking what the taxes that those players pay on their paycheck for playing in Cleveland, probably, you know, half the season pays for it back in tax revenue. Of course, you know, the city wants us to pay for it instead of using that tax money, but that's politics for you.
Yeah.
No, with politicians, they can never get enough.
How old is First Energy? Because I knew they kind of built it around the same time when they tore down.
When the Browns came back in, what, 97?
Oh, okay. So I thought
but
I thought they built it after they tore down the stadium that municipal because my mom was at the last Indians game, played there.
Indians game.
Yeah.
Well, Indians left way before the stadium
I'm sorry.
was torn down.
Last Browns game that was
Okay,
played
Browns
there.
game.
And they
Ooh, that hurt me.
they weren't allowed
Browns
to.
left.
Yeah.
That hurt.
First Energy was built in 99.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we went 4 years without football.
my mom's mom, so my grandma, she kept telling them like, no, you can't steal any seats or anything, and they just kept. They'd have the seat in their hand and be like handing it up to people because they were tearing apart the stadium.
Oh yeah.
And apparently my aunt that lives in Seven Hills, she was there at the game also, just in a different section, and she stole a front row seat and took it all in there. All right.
Yeah,
And now
was
it's like in the
bullshit.
living room.
Well, you know what happened.
About you all the time?
We had a really. I liked Art Modell. He was the owner of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And now my dad hated Art Modell, and the reason why is, when I told you that story about Otto Graham, our head coach was Paul Brown.
Yeah.
And Paul Brown, basically, it was his team. There was an owner, but you never heard of it. And Paul Brown was just a flippin' winner. He was just a winner. Don Shula is a descendant of Paul Brown. And Art Modell took over the team, and Art wanted to be the famous one. He didn't want Paul Brown to get all the credit. Art wanted it. And Art didn't come from money. He had a little money, but not $1 billion kind of money.
Mm.
So he bought the team for next to nothing. And after a couple years, he fired Paul Brown, and that pissed my dad off. My dad, to the day he died, struggled to watch a Browns game because Art Modell owned that team. Now, me, on the other hand, Art Modell was a very emotional guy. He wore, like me, wore his emotions on his sleeve. You say something bad to me, well, I'm going to have an issue with it. Just like Art. And remember, the Indians played in Municipal Stadium. Municipal Stadium was owned by the city of Cleveland, but it was Art's stadium. And the reason why? The stadium needed to be torn down. Art put his own money into that stadium to make the freaking lights work. And we're not talking a couple light bulbs here. We're talking millions and millions of dollars in a time the city had no money. So it was Art's stadium. He had a tenant that didn't bring in many fans, but rented from him 81 times a year. I mean, NFL, a home game, this is probably what, they played 14 games a year? Or what, 7 home games? He has a tenant 81 times paying him money. He owned the parking lot next to it. You know what in the 90s, you don't have those parking lot, but all his revenue?
Yeah.
They took it away from him and built the Science Museum. That was his parking lot. He had all the revenue from that. So they gave his tenant a brand new state-of-the-art facility and took away his revenue from the parking lot and left him that shithole to play in. Now, boys and girls, the Municipal Stadium was a joke of a stadium, but it was fun, providing you weren't sitting right behind a steel I-beam. It really was fun. I mean, it's like going to that buddy's house that got his first apartment, you know what I mean? His furniture's crap and you ain't got to worry about spilling something, that kind of a place. And so economically, it really hurt Art Modell. And Art wanted a new stadium, but Art was kind of like mentioning, well, maybe we should remodel the stadium we have, because he was too nice. He didn't want to put his foot down to the city and say, God damn it, you build me a new stadium or I'm leaving. Well, Art was having major financial trouble. They went out and signed one of the premier wide receivers in the league at the time, Andre Rison. They used to joke around and call him Bad Mood Rising because he'd get into fights. And
Like Odell.
so Art needed money bad and knew the city. He didn't want to handcuff the city, but he was pissed at the city for taking away all his money from that parking lot and his good tenant, that paid every week. And so he started talking to Baltimore, and Baltimore offered him $100 million just to relocate. And he was desperate for money. The deal was done before the negotiations happened with the city. It was already done. And you want to talk about a heartbreaker? When I'm watching the breaking news from Baltimore, they're announcing the Baltimore Browns. So all the news channels, all the radio stations here in Cleveland, put out, and this is when websites were in their infancy state, put out all the phone numbers of all the NFL teams, all the league NFLs. They're fax machines. Fax machines, very few people fax. By the way, I still have one just because I do business with the elderly community. They couldn't make an outgoing phone call in any office for any team in the league. The NFL, the whole building, the NFL building, they couldn't make an outgoing phone call. It just rang and it was Cleveland people. Fucking pissed. I mean, pissed. Within a few days, they made an announcement, Cleveland's getting their own team. They couldn't send a fax. Their machine, you had to unplug the goddamn thing. You motherfucker. I'm fucking kill everybody. Take my gun. No shit. I mean, they gave us a team, just make our phones quit ringing. No kidding, that's what happened. Oh, you want to talk about a proud day? That was a proud day.
Then they went from the Baltimore Browns to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, sad to say we got to keep the colors. By the way, brown and cream's a much better color scheme than that orange. I'm not an orange hater, but let's just say it's way down the list of my favorite colors. I know it's a fall color, it's a fall sport, but
well, I mean, was it Paul Brown started the Browns, right?
Yeah.
And then, that was his color choice, and then he went on to the Bengals, started the Bengals.
Yeah.
And they're still the same colors.
Same color. I mean, the helmets were the same, everything. Yep.
So, I mean, I guess he really liked orange.
Yep.
Two teams in Ohio with the same color scheme, basically.
And I was a little boy in the 70s, right? And I'm looking at it going, when they play each other, it's like, they look the same. Why do they look the same? You know what I mean? And I remember being a little boy and getting, they had baseball cards, right, with a little piece of bubble gum. They had football too, and I liked baseball, but I loved football.
Yeah.
So you used to get a sticker, and it was like a helmet. You know what I mean? You peel off, and you could stick on whatever, right? And I remember first one I got was the Saints helmet with that Florida Lee on it. I'm looking at the colors, and I'm like, it's kind of weird, but I kind of like it. Yeah. I kind of like it. They got a hell of a color scheme. They really do.
When they do their all-white jerseys now, they look so nice.
Yeah.
They're all white and then just the gold for the numbers.
Well, they look like they're hip.
Yeah.
Where you look at the Browns colors, like, oh, that ain't hip. That ain't nothing hip about that.
And then when they did the all-brown color rush, I was like,
that ain't, I went to
Padua,
Padua Franciscan High School on State Road.
Yeah.
In Parma. Our colors were brown and white. Not bad. Thank God it wasn't orange.
Right.
I mean, ditch the orange. I like the brown. I like the white.
Now,
I'm telling you, back in the 90s, early 90s, when I was in my prime, I had a suit by Z Cavarici, and it was a cream color suit with dark brown writing on it. And man, I'll tell you what, that's smoking suit. And that color scheme's fantastic, cream and brown.
Yeah.
They need to phase out that orange. I mean, put it on a shelf for, the next generation or something.
Right. I've always loved the Ohio State colors. The
Ohio State?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's
fantastic.
But I don't know what any other Ohio team could do to switch up the colors. I feel like we already have two Cleveland teams that have red in them. So I don't feel like we can do red anything.
Back when the Indians were founded, everything was very patriotic.
Yeah.
A lot of teams from that era are red, white, and blue.
I mean, the Red Sox.
White Sox.
Yeah. Red, white, and blue. I mean, to this day, a lot of
The
teams
Blue
are still
Jays.
red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Just
the
because
Blue Jays
of that.
are a Canadian team.
That was back in the day when even if your community was bad to you, you were still proud of your country.
Yeah.
I don't want to get political here, guys, but, there's a lot of good people out there. And there's some bad people. And you can't, think of everything in the light of those few bad people that spoil it for the rest of us.
I wasn't there to experience it, but occasionally I'll see the videos of the first football game after 9/11 with the Cowboys players crying as they're running flags out on the field and everyone's waving flags at the game. And it was like pretty nice.
9/11. I got a great story about 9/11. Again, it happened in New York, right? And there was a late night talk show. David Letterman, based out of New York, and David always had it tough because he went up against other late night talk shows that were based in California, where all the actors are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, if someone's coming to visit New York, you're hoping they have time, to do a show, right? So it wasn't easy for David. Not a big fan of his politics, but he's funny man, funny man. I used to watch his show quite often. Well, so David wasn't going to come back after 9/11. Remember, guys, it destroyed a lot of us on the inside for a short period of time. And David wasn't going to come back. And the great Mayor Rudy Giuliani talked David into coming back. New York needed him. And so David comes back, and the first night, the police chief and a bunch of cops are there from New York City. They're like, we're having a giveaway. We're giving away a brand new car. And you go to like a festival, right? And they've got like the big wheel thing. You put money down on like dice, like the 1, the 2, or the 3, and they turn this big wheel and it's going around in a circle. And so they have a drawing, right? So they spin this wheel, they pull a number, and they're like, Osama bin Laden, you want a brand new car? Come on down. And all the cops are there, come on down. Oh, it was fucking great. I'm telling you, any young people out there who understand Google it. I'll tell you, it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Greatest things I ever see. Come on down, you want a brand new car. All the cops are like, come on, man, come on. It's one of the ones where we gonna fuck you up.
You want a brand new car, but you're going to jail.
By the way, my brother-in-law, him and his guys received the Bronze Star. He just retired in the military, 38 years. It was his team that flew the helicopters in, the Blackhawks in, that brought SEAL Team 6 in when they killed that sumbitch. Robin Mozart. 38 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast a while ago when I was working, and they had Donald Trump Jr. on the podcast, and then the guy that killed Osama bin Laden on the podcast in the same day. That was a very good podcast to listen to if you're on that side.
I bet. Well, I mean, you
also he told a lot of the story that for like our generation, we learned more about it if you didn't really research it a lot.
Right.
You learn a lot of what happened after the fact.
Yeah.
So.
Well, occasionally you hear, whether it's whoever the president is, that the president puts out what's called an executive order.
Yeah.
From my understanding, it was really designed where the president can declare war on someone without permission of Congress. Mm-hmm. And typically, though, they'll ask Congress, knowing damn well everyone's like, fuck yeah, kill him. And after 9/11, they asked the people, Congress, and everyone voted for it. Then, when it was time for re-election, and people, I didn't want to do it. Yeah, bullshit, you voted to kill them some bitches too. But sad to say that these executive orders are becoming more like a dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where you're just fighting them in courts. But hopefully one of these presidents will change that, where executive orders should be saved for things like war,
Yeah.
and only war.
Like our fine president today did like the 17.
He's building it back better. Shelves are empty.
He had like 17 executive orders
Within his first
day of signing new
Yeah.
bills and stuff. Yeah. I
Well,
would like to see that change.
Well, the crazy part is, people are outraged today about what happened on January 6th, where quite a few Americans felt that the election was rigged, and damn it, they went to Washington to be heard, seen,
Very well
and felt.
that.
And everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Well, hold on. This ain't the first time in my lifetime. I think it was 1982, 1983. These assholes who were big commies and socialists, they set off a fucking bomb in the Senate. Kaboom! Like something you'd see in a third world country. Ka-fucking boom! And 3 people went to jail for a long time. Well, President Clinton pardoned them.
Yeah.
And the leader of Black Lives Matter, I shit you not. Yeah, Black Lives Matter bombed the Senate in 1982, 1983. Ain't that something? And I mean, let's be honest, people change, right? You hope people get rehabilitated when someone does a heinous thing and 20 years go by and they get pardoned. You want to hate it, they shouldn't be pardoned. But what if they,
It's been
feel
20
bad?
years, yeah.
Right? What if and they want to go out and preach to everyone else, don't do that. I made a terrible mistake. Well, they should be let out. But, when they don't fucking learn their lesson, they need to be put down like a rabid fucking dog.
Uh-huh.
Or like a fucking gator that ate somebody.
Yeah.
Kill that motherfucker. I ain't saying kill these people from Black Lives Matters, but, they need to be talked to.
Especially when it was either them or Antifa threatened the jury of that Kyle Rittenhouse.
That I didn't hear.
Yeah, they were sending death threats to them saying, if you vote that he was innocent,
Yeah.
not guilty, we will
I
find
think it
you.
was Black Lives Matter.
Boys and girls out there, do your research. If there's anything you can learn from this old man, do your research. Don't just take anyone's word for it. You've heard me make some statements, whether it's about Autogram or this bombing in 82 or 83. Just Google Senate bombing. Do your own homework. I've been working in New Orleans metro area. Again, I follow big storms, and so August 29th of 2021 this year, a badass hurricane hammered Louisiana again, and so I've been there working, and I just don't have much time to watch the news, and I didn't see everything that happened on this trial, but a jury of his peers made a decision, and we all have to live with it. I could tell you, going back to those cops that killed that George Floyd. I'm not here to give my opinion on was it right or was it wrong. That's irrelevant. But I can tell you this: there was an angry mob outside of the courthouse. I was watching the news at the time, demanding that these cops be killed. That literally goes against the United States law. Do your homework, look it up. I can't quote you the statute, but I do know some of the laws. And you can't have an angry mob with pitchforks, and torches outside of a courthouse demanding something be done. It's intimidation. Plain and simple, it's intimidation.
When they were threatening those, they were also threatening all the state houses.
Mm-hmm.
And we had
plain
to
and
go,
simple.
I had to go to the state house and in our riot gear and stuff,
Yeah,
just in case. And we had a bunch of Antifa people walking around.
Yeah, I believe in the law, right or wrong. You know what I mean? Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't like the law. But plain and simple, that those people could not get a fair trial. They should have walked. It should be overturned. Again, I'm not saying guilty or innocent, but when you have an angry mob outside, I mean, think about it this way: if it was your dad on the stand and there's an angry mob and every juror's kind of looking out the window like, "Are they gonna kill me when I walk out of here? I better do what they say." That's what it's about. It's irrelevant, did they do it or not, or were they within their guidelines of police work? Man died. It seemed to me like I didn't hear the facts, but what little I know, they knelt on the man's neck a little too long. You know what I mean? Plain and simple. But I can tell you, I've seen people, I'm from the hood, I've seen people on drugs that are like supermen that can do crazy shit. You know what I mean? I wasn't there. I don't know what happened inside that courtroom, but I can tell you this. If there's an angry mob outside that wants you to hang and they're going to kill people if you don't hang, this is the United States of America. And love the system or not, that can never happen. That can never happen because that person cannot get a fair trial. You know, today, last couple of days, I've seen a couple people that have just been let out of prison. They were falsely in prison for like 30, 40 years. You've destroyed this person. Mm-hmm. Everyone they ever knew called them a motherfucker forever, whether it was for rape or murder. If they had children, their children hated them and were an embarrassment to their children. Everyone their children knew, all their lives, falsely in prison. Imagine when these people were on trial, there were people out there with pitchforks and torches. We'll burn this motherfucker to the ground if he ain't found guilty. Hold on. This ain't about what you want. This is about justice and lawyers arguing points in front of a jury who gets to hear the facts. We don't get to hear these facts. Plain and simple, we don't. We're not in the know. And when you have an angry mob outside demanding something be done the way you want it done, you got to throw that out. This is the United States of America. You know, there's the Salem witch trials because a couple little bitches didn't like these elderly women and said they were witches. They burned these fucking women at the stake over some little cunts that just had a little bitch attack and didn't like somebody.
Yeah.
Don't forget it, boys and girls.
In English, I just had to read the whole thing over again, even though I read it back in high school.
So we already did that.
Yeah, even if, like, say you were my neighbor and we got into an argument, mm-hmm. and you had been, like, pissing me off lately, I could accuse you of being a witch, mm-hmm. and you'd go on trial and hang.
Yep.
Just because, a couple other people were like, yeah, he has been acting weird lately.
Yeah, and you know, boys and girls, you think back to whether you're in school now or when you were in school, a little brown noser at school. Imagine that motherfucker didn't like you. Whether it was a little bitch or a little asshole, didn't like you. You know what I mean? And telling a teacher, that motherfucker's a witch. Burn him. Burn that motherfucker. And this is, you know, the one that brown noses them and you know, brings them an apple every day. Next thing you know, they're looking cross-eyed at you. You know what I mean? Because this little asshole doesn't like you. So, boys and girls, it's all about justice. Mm-hmm. You got to let the system run its course. And, you know, I had a talk with my daughter recently and about, you know, Jesus and faith and all that, you know, and people are wronged, plain and simple. There's been times I've been wrong. There's times you've been wrong. And the good thing about faith is you get to say, well, you know what? You might escape punishment here on earth. Wait till your ass goes to St. Peter and them pearly gates. They fucking know what you did. They know the asshole you really are, and you'll get your justice then.
Fair enough.
That's why
it's about that time.
That's why I always make the joke, when I go down the hill, Satan has to scoot over. He's in my seat. And they're always like, what have you done? It's like...
Yeah. What have you done?
He ain't done shit. Hey, thanks, boys and girls. Guys, appreciate you having me on. And hopefully we'll do this again.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what have you done? Look at the guy that was in Cleveland that
Killed us.
Before
you say stories like that.
And it's usually good material for
No, I was going to say the people that... the guy that was in Cleveland and kept the girls like in his house for like 4 years.
Castro.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Russia.
Don't mind that. All right. Let's catch you guys next week. See ya.